All right, let's talk about the future. Not the flying cars, science fiction kind, but the one that's actually being built right now. Today, we're going to take a really close look at the data and see what the world might look like in 2050. We'll get into how technology is going to reshape pretty much everything, our jobs, our homes, even our downtime. So let's get into it and decode the future together.
So let's just start with a few questions. First up, think about this. What if, instead of you having to fit your life around your job was literally built around you, your unique skills, your schedule, your actual passions?
Okay, now let's zoom out a little. What if the world around you, your city, your house, could actually anticipate what you need? You know, manage energy and traffic perfectly, creating a healthier planet all on its own?
And one more for you. What if your free time wasn't just about kicking back and relaxing, but about creating? What if you had the power to explore and build whole new worlds? This is the future we're diving into today.
So, let's kick things off with the thing that takes up a huge chunk of our lives: work. What we're seeing in the data suggests that by 2050, we won't just be changing careers, we're going to be changing the very definition of what a job even is.
So we're looking at a world where AI is basically our coworker, where our office could be in virtual reality, where we're constantly learning new skills, and where that classic 5-day work week, well, that's history. But, what does that actually feel like day to day?
Well, this quote really sums it up. The whole idea of going to work just fades away. Instead, work becomes this collection of projects and collaborations you can do from anywhere, mainly because AI is there to handle all the boring, repetitive stuff.
And this is the key thing to get. AI isn't here to replace us. It's here to supercharge us. Think about it. By taking over all the grunt work, sifting through data, scheduling meetings, it frees us up to focus on the things humans are just better at. Imagine an architect who can use AI to instantly model 1,000 different building supports so she can focus all her energy on creating a truly breathtaking design. That's the kind of partnership we're talking about.
And the most obvious result of all this insane new efficiency? A much, much better work-life balance. Yeah, the 4-day work week, maybe even shorter, becomes the new normal, not some radical experiment. It's not a fantasy. It's just the logical outcome when you work smarter, not harder.
So, okay, if our work lives get way more flexible, what happens to the rest of our time? Well, that brings us to our next big shift: how technology is going to make our daily lives deeply, deeply personal.
I mean, we are talking about a world where AI can predict when you might get sick, where cities basically run themselves, and where tech is actively healing our planet. It's a total overhaul of how we manage our health and our environment.
This right here is a total game changer. Just imagine a healthcare system that doesn't just treat you after you get sick. Instead, it's constantly monitoring your health data to stop you from getting sick in the first place. The entire focus of medicine flips from cure to prevention.
And that same idea, that proactive intelligence, it scales up to our whole planet. Our homes will be smart enough to optimize energy use every single second. Our cities will use dynamic traffic grids to completely eliminate traffic jams. All of this works behind the scenes to create a world that's sustainable, efficient, and honestly, a much nicer place to live.
So with work being more efficient and our lives getting smarter, we're going to have more free time. The big question is, what do we do with it? And that brings us to our third pillar, a complete reinvention of what leisure even means. If you think about it, for the last 100 years or so, entertainment has been pretty passive, right? We watch movies, we listen to albums, then video games came along and we got to interact. Well, the next giant leap is co-creation. You're no longer just the audience, you become a builder, an architect of your own entertainment with AI as your tool.
I mean, the possibilities here are just mind-boggling. You could literally walk the streets of ancient Rome, stand on the surface of Mars, or dive into a fantasy world that was generated just for you seconds earlier. Leisure stops being a passive activity and becomes an act of infinite creative exploration. Okay, but this incredible, seamless vision of the future, it doesn't come for free. It brings up some really big, serious questions. With so much of our world being run by these intelligent systems, we really have to pause and ask, where does the human fit in all this?
You see, for every amazing promise, there's a potential risk. That incredible efficiency we get, it could come at the cost of being controlled by algorithms we don't understand. That deep personalization that makes life so easy, it could mean giving up our privacy completely. And if work isn't the center of our identity anymore, what gives our lives purpose? These are the huge trade-offs we have to figure out.
And this, right here, is probably the most important thing to remember. Technology is just a tool, an incredibly powerful tool, for sure, but it doesn't have an agenda. We are the ones who decide how to use it. We decide what the rules are and what values we want to build our future on.
So as we start to wrap this up, it is so important to remember that none of this is set in stone. The future isn't some fixed destination we're all going to arrive at one day. It's a direction, and it's one we are actively choosing, right now, together. You know, all the technologies and the tough ethical questions we've talked about, they aren't some far-off fantasy. They are being developed, debated, and built in labs and boardrooms as we speak. The decisions we all make today are literally laying the bricks for the world of 2050.
And that brings us to the final, and really, the only question that matters. This future is coming. It's going to be shaped by our choices and our actions, big and small. So you have to ask yourself, in this incredible, unfolding story, what role are you going to play?